Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 429. It is the last day of the week, aka the Big Bang Attack workout. I'm feeling very good right now, very excited for this workout. But anyways, back to the main subject matter for today. Timing. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is because I was going to do this about an hour ago, but unfortunately some timing issues happened, in which case my dad decided to fix the front door lock, and then he couldn't get it back together, so that was a whole hour of trying to get that back together. But that's not necessarily the point of this video. It's more of the timing of him doing it, because it was right when I was about to start working out, but as well as the timing that he always likes to do things at inconvenient times. There was another time recently where he decided to fix a light switch at bedtime. So it was a hurrying up, but also half asleep, half awake type of deal. So it was like, what the hell are we doing? So that is part of it. But I don't want to say that he has bad timing, but I want to just talk about timing in general, because sometimes timing is 90% of what you do, really. I think for me right now, timing is a challenge in terms of eating. I gotta time that correctly, or else I am hungry and I'm just sitting there starving. So I've learned how to time my meals better than before. So in today's episode, we're going to be looking at a bunch of things, just generally how life impacts timing, how sometimes time just doesn't move, or sometimes time just doesn't fucking stop moving, especially when you're older. So it's just something that is a broad category type of subject, but I want to just talk about it because I think it applies in a lot of stuff with a lot of people, especially because I think a lot of people think they miss their timing, or they end up waiting for the right time, which is a pure lie. But we'll get into that and a lot of other stuff like that when we get to Mother Base.
Alright, so started this day off with a single arm lat pull down, which is pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand for today. Timing. So the main reason why I want to discuss timing is because timing is something that just happens to happen all the time, technically, but also as well as just the idea of when timing is good, bad, just right, or just wrong. Whatever it is, I think nobody can really escape it in a certain sense, that it's the thing that moves on forever. Whether we want it to not move on is something that we can never control. Nobody can ever really sit down and say, I'm going to stop time. It just doesn't work like that. But I wanted to talk about this because things happen to happen at good and or bad times, or just in time, really. I think that mostly the reason why I'm even saying this right now, currently, as I'm recording this, my favorite online live stream show, Fish Tank, just started, which is terrible timing for me because it means that I'm going to be heavily distracted for the next 30 days while I try to create these videos. But I will still do it, and I will still have some poor timing in that sense. But even then, there are people out there that have generally poor timing. This isn't necessarily something that is like inherent with everybody. I think that many people, and or even ethnicities, you could even say, have terrible timing. I will say Hispanic people, generally speaking, have terrible timing. You tell them to be somewhere at 4, many of them will be there at 5:30. That's just how it is. My friend Henry is notorious for this. I will give him a shout out, but I remember back in high school, we would literally tell him an hour and a half before we would get there to his house that we are already outside, just because we know that's how bad he is. Another person who has bad timing is my dad, but my dad has bad timing in a different sense, where he likes to do things at weird random hours. Instead of doing things at what the time that should be done, he does it whenever it just comes up, and it's kind of inconvenient at certain points, and that kind of ruins certain things because, like I said at the beginning of this video, he wants to do things like right before going to sleep, or when it's bedtime, or when it's doing like time to go do something else, and it's kind of like, brother, what are you doing? That just happens to happen. Thankfully, I haven't inherited that, but I did inherit a lateness factor from him. I have a tendency to be late to things. That's the only thing that I'm not very good at. I'm not great, but I'm also not bad. But the thing is, timing as well can make it so that you just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time as well. Recently, I got into a car accident, which I will talk about in a different episode, but that was wrong place, wrong time, but I was going to work. So maybe one delay here, one delay there would have prevented that entire thing from happening, which who knows? And I think that that's the other thing about timing that a lot of people will really get bogged down and truly think about, where they'll literally they'll sit there and think about all the things that could have happened. You know, whenever you see the car in front of you get into a car accident and you skate by and you think, holy shit, I almost got fucked over by that. That is insane. You know, that entire idea of just seeing this life-changing event in front of you and how maybe 30 seconds later that could have been you. Somebody ran a red light and get T-boned another car. That was one car away from being you. You know, like that entire thing is just a monumental factor in life that people like to either dismiss or really they'll think about it for like half a second and then move on. I do believe in a certain sense where if things are going right in your world, timing will work out in your favor, in a certain sense that whatever pathway you are on, the synchronicities in the world will allow you to see and make sure that you're on the right path. And once that is happening, the timing will also be on your favor. So then that way, you know, you're doing things correctly when your timing is correct and it's perfectly on time, whatever that means in your world. I think that if you are late to things, if you are continuously keep going on or bogged down or things like that, I think that that's like another way of the universe showing you that you're not going the right direction. I know this sounds very hocus pocusy and very, very different, but I do believe in something like that because synchronicity is a real thing. And thus that I feel like that is what part of it is the timing of things. There are people also that just inherently have good internal timing. Like my wife is very good at that type of stuff. So is my mother. Very good, very on time type of people. These types of people also exist. They aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, but also as well, I don't necessarily think that they might have the timing for things exactly like how they're supposed to. I don't think that maybe synchronicities are working on their side, but also as well, it just might be an internal thing. But I do believe maybe they are on the paths that they should be on. Actually, one thing that happened to me whilst recording some of these videos was that I had done an episode 395, which was a episode, I forgot about what exactly, but the thing is, I accidentally recorded two videos that were episode 395, but the timing of it was that one of them, I had no subject matter. So I was just going to make it one of those power hours, but I ended up scrapping that video because I didn't necessarily even need it. And because of the timing of that, I ended up doing the exact same number again and again, which worked out perfectly. It was excellent. So it ended up working. It ended up being the perfect timing for me, making me know that this was the perfect moment for something like that to happen. I also wanted to touch upon the perception of time because I always think about it, how as we grow older, the time just seems like it goes further and further and faster, which is a very interesting idea, but it makes sense because time is as more we get of it, the more that we can see that the things have progressed. You know, it's more of our life. So we see it less and less as things go on. We get to see more of life. So for example, if a 5-year-old is paying attention, you know, a day is 1/5 of their life. Obviously the math isn't correct on that, obviously, but for us as an adult, one day of the life is like 1/10,000th of your life. So it makes sense in a certain sense that that's why things go quickly. It's just not the same as it once was. So that's why I'm always looking at somebody like my nephew, who is a young kid who I know is going to slowly get to the point where he's like us or like me, where time is just going to be super quick. I think that's just a very interesting aspect about time in general. There is also the idea of people mistiming their timing or waiting for the right time. Waiting for the right time is something in a slightly sense a little bit different because there are multiple factors on that, as well as missing their timing, because a lot of people will lament that for a long period and try anything that they can to go back or try to wait for something that probably won't happen. But that's a different story for a different day.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, done. Exercises skipped, also done. Got everything in, thankfully. But anyways, to the main subject matter for today, timing. So the main reason why I wanted to discuss timing is because it's a broad general thing that happens. But at the same time, it's one of those concepts that people will attach themselves to quite a bit, especially because they will forever question it, whether they were too late, too early, just on time, or something along those lines. And the outside forces that could come and conspire in order to make things work for you or against you. If, for example, the car that's in front of you that all of a sudden delays you a second, but because they delay you a second, a car that's running a red light blazes through. So because of that, you've been saved essentially a fucking headache and a half that could have happened, things like that, where it's small little timing things that all of a sudden create a giant, like, I wouldn't want to say paradox, because that's not the right term, but an event that all of a sudden doesn't happen, or the other way around, where an event does happen because of a delay, or because you get somewhere a little bit early or on time or something like that. It's one of those things that you see more when you go into the bigger picture. Like, for example, when looking at something like lifting, I don't see it as a monthly or even daily type of thing. I think of it as a yearly thing. It's not even necessarily that much. I can't look at it too close because the timing between each session, though different, isn't much. It's a type of thing that progresses over years. So I'm currently in year 4 now. So that's just the beginning of, I'm still in the beginning portion of it. I don't think that I'm even that far in. So it's interesting. But when you look at something like YouTube, 4 years is a long fucking time. It just depends, of course, what you're doing. And that's the entire weirdness of timing, particularly because the timing of certain things, particularly certain parts of, or certain events in your life, can really dictate where or what is happening in there. And it could really make or break certain people. Realistically, the timing of certain things happening either too early, too late, or just in the nick of time is always an interesting thing, because when you look back and you think, man, what if I met this person at X, or what if I met this person at Y, or what if I got this job at X or Y? And it's one of those things that you just really kind of go down a rabbit hole that can keep going forever and ever, even though technically you probably shouldn't, but it is an interesting one nonetheless. Especially if like, let's say you dodged some major crisis or something along those lines. I don't know, like, those are the huge ones that you think of, or things like that. Or just the general, like, random happenstance of being at the right place at the right time. You think of those as well. But unfortunately, there are the times where you are at the wrong place at the wrong time and you get fucked over. I mean, that just happens to happen. And there's probably some type of metaphysical reasoning for it, whether it be some type of maybe will outside your power in order to allow you to make sure that your timing is actually correct versus your timing being incorrect. And if you aren't doing what you're supposed to be doing in the world, maybe time is off for you, and thus that's why you're getting all the terrible timing splits basically of life, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. But if you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, then all of a sudden all the time splits start happening in your favor, and then thus you're actually continuing a motion forward. I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but I feel like that's part of what is in synchronicity, and that you are taking the signs from outside of yourself and putting it into your world, and not necessarily the timing of the things, but the fact that it happens all within a certain amount of time. So I feel like that is a sign from the universe that you're going into the right direction. And that's why timing is a very interesting thing, because then sometimes you can have timing where it's off, and then it's like, what did I do wrong? It's like you start questioning the world, just what happened, But that's a very interesting concept, and timing itself is just a very interesting one, whether you're late, early, or on time. It's something to always be thinking about, because it's the one thing that we can never control, no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, no matter how rich, how poor. time will always keep ticking. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This was a random one, but still, nonetheless, a good one. I like talking about this type of shit because this is the type of shit that comes through my brain. It would be really funny if I just ended the video right here. But also, the timing on that would be terrible. But you see, that's also about endings. And timing is half the battle with endings, but it's a different story for a different day. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe out there and stay warm. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.